We have an NHL trade to discuss between the Penguins and the Blackhawks. We'll go over the details coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have an NHL trade to discuss. We have a small deal here between the Penguins and the Blackhawks. No big surprise, the Blackhawks are kind of scrambling looking for players after they already had a long list of injuries going into last night, and then they ended up with a couple more fairly significant ones. So the trade involves REM Pitlick of the Penguins going to the Blackhawks in exchange for a 2026 7th round selection. Now, Pitlick ended up in Pittsburgh over the offseason, former Montreal Canadian, former Minnesota Wild, had a career season when Montreal picked him up from Minnesota, and I believe he put up, between the two teams that year, put up 37 points, got himself a contract extension, trending in the right direction, and then after another year in Montreal, kind of took a step back, and then kind of fell out of favor, so to speak. Obviously, with the young crew that they've been developing there, they decided they'd rather give that roster spot to one of their other kind of homegrown prospects. So Pitlick ended up being involved in the offseason in the trade that saw Jeff Petrie move, and of course, they saw Montreal get involved as the third team. Of course, they had, they picked up Casey DeSmith, who they later traded to Vancouver, and all those players, that whole deal, which was essentially the Erik Karlsson trade between, obviously, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Montreal Canadiens, and of course the San Jose Sharks. So Pitlick ends up in Pittsburgh. Now he goes to Chicago. He hasn't played on the NHL roster in Pittsburgh this year. They basically decided that he was probably 14th, 15th on their depth chart, so did not keep him at the NHL level. He's played well in the American League this year, putting up, I believe it's been 24 points in 32 games, so pretty good showing in that respect. He's got lots of speed. He's still relatively young, makes $1.1 million. He is signed for one more season, so the Blackhawks, if they feel they need to down the road, they can completely bury that contract if they need to, which is likely why he signed for the amount that he did. It's likely how the team gave him a one-way deal, is the fact that it was able to be buried. But Chicago last night lost Connor Bedard. Obviously, in the first period, gets hit by Brendan Smith. We found out today he's got a fractured jaw. Nick Foligno, the veteran of the team, kind of like the dad of the group, so to speak, ended up fighting later in the game because of that hit. Fractured a finger. They've already got a long list of other players, including Taylor Hall and several other key guys, out with injury. So they're kind of scrambling right now, which explains why they picked up Pitlick. I wouldn't even be surprised if they even make another deal at some point here soon to grab another kind of fringe player, so to speak, that another team might not have a need for, like Pitlick. So we'll see. So Pitlick should get a good opportunity considering how many injuries there are in Chicago. He should be able to play fairly high in the lineup, use his speed, hopefully generate some offense, generate some points, and kind of get back to the NHL, maybe prolong his stay. So minor trade that could have big impact, maybe not so much for each team, but for the player himself to kind of get back to his NHL career. So let me know your thoughts on this deal down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe and stick around. We'll keep you up to date with all the news, rumors, and analysis of all 32 NHL teams. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time.